YouTube. This is Brian916. Thanks for tuning in and welcome back to the channel. So today I got a tool review for you guys. I'm going to be doing a review on Tekton Ratchets. Many of you guys know I use Tekton Ratchets quite a bit. They're a great quality tool, good middle of the road tool if you ask me. I think it's somewhere in the middle between, like, let's say Snap-on, Mako, Mac, Cornwell, all these higher end tools. And then on your lower end, you got Pittsburgh and Craftsman and some of the cheaper auto parts store line tools and the cheaper big box store tool brands. I would say Tekton is like dead smack in the middle. It's a decent middle of the road tool that can kind of compete with some of the better tools and still hold up. I have quite a few tools from them. I have their combination wrench set and metric and imperial size. I do have a small socket set from them, a deep socket set, 3/8 drive, which is okay. I hear their impact sockets are really good, even though I don't have any. But I do like their wrenches. I have the stubby wrenches that they have, the stubby ratcheting wrenches. And overall, I'm pretty satisfied with their tools. They did make an updated pry bar. The first pry bar that they made, I wasn't satisfied with. I thought it was pretty cheap, poor excuse for a pry bar. But they've since updated that pry bar, and I'm very happy with the updated pry bar that they put out. Also, I definitely was not a fan of their ratchets initially. Deza Autotech had bought a ratchet from them. I really wasn't that impressed with the ratchets that they had. The roto head ratchets that they put out are pretty decent, but the other just regular style ratchets just weren't good ratchets. So 2 years ago, I picked up this Tekton ratchet. It's a long 3/8 drive ratchet, and I really wasn't impressed by this ratchet after I used it. It broke pretty much the first time I put it through like some real deal use. I used it to remove a bolt on a brake caliper bracket. So typically, once you remove the brake caliper and you want to replace the rotor, you would then have to take the pads out and then remove the brake caliper bracket off in order to get the rotor off. A lot of manufacturers actually put Loctite on those bolts, so it could be a pretty tough bolt. And living in California, we don't have rust issues like that, so it wasn't an extremely stubborn bolt where I should use a long breaker bar or something like that. So I used this. I thought it had pretty good leverage on there to get in there and just bust those brake caliper bolts loose, but on first use, it pretty much popped this ratchet. And ever since then, I felt like the Tekton ratchets were a joke. So I called Tekton and they sent me a rebuild kit for it. I went ahead and put the rebuild kit in the ratchet. And ever since then, I sort of just used this as a serpentine belt detensioning tool and never really used it to bust. So I wasn't the biggest fan of Tekton ratchets, obviously, but now they got some new ratchets out, guys, so let's take a closer look. All right, guys, so this is that long 3/8 drive Tekton ratchet I just mentioned a minute ago that broke fairly easy, and I used it as a light duty tool and didn't consider this to be a professional quality tool, and it's more of a light duty or kind of a DIY tool, if you will. Now here's the updated same tool that they made. This is their newest model long 3/8 drive ratchet, and in my opinion, I can already see that more thought went into the design on this tool, and it's going to be a much better quality tool than their original. So let's look at some of the differences. So the first noticeable difference to me was definitely the head size. The head size and the height of the ratchet is the first noticeable difference. I can see right here that this ratchet sticks out quite a bit higher, almost maybe a ½ inch higher. And we all know that's a mile in automotive as far as clearance goes. So this ratchet will definitely be able to get you in much tighter places than its original one would. If this was to be used as to detention serpentine belts, much like I use this one, If you got some low profile sockets and you put them on here, you can see that this one will still sort of give you an advantage to get in between mechanical fans and to get past fan clutches and things like that. It'll give you more clearance. They've made the profile of the Ratchet a lot smaller. So that's the first thing I noticed. You can tell right away that when putting these two together, that the new design Ratchet is a little bit longer. I'd say probably about a ½ inch or so longer than the original. And also it's a lot thinner, like the body or the profile of the Ratchet's a lot skinnier. And just overall easier to grasp and use this tool. You can tell more design thought went into using this tool. It feels a lot different. And this tool is probably about maybe 2 times the amount of weight that the new design tool is. I mean, it's significantly lighter. The way it feels in the hand, it just feels a lot better in the hand than this one does. I guess it's a matter of personal preference, but I'm not a big fan of Ratchets that have this sort of roughed up type surface on here. I'm more of a fan of the smooth finish on it. To me, it just feels better. So this particular model does not have a quick release button on it. However, you can purchase this new model with a quick release button on it. And of course, all that's been redesigned brand new as well. So comparing the old 3/8 drive Tekton Ratchet with the new and improved long 3/8 drive Tekton Ratchet, look at the dramatic difference in the head size. So you can see that they dramatically reduced the size of the head so that the user of this Ratchet can get it in much tighter confinements, which is necessary when working on modern. So let's get into what really matters, and that's going to be the ratcheting mechanism. On the new and improved Tekton Ratchet, it has a 90 tooth setup with a 4-degree swing arc, which is nice. It comes already pre-lubed, so they lubed up the gear set so you don't have to open it up and lubricate the Ratchet yourself. It is serviceable. It comes with a couple of screws right here in the plate here, so you can remove this and service this Ratchet over time and add some more lube to it and clean it and things like that. So the guts of the Ratchet has been also upgraded, not just the design of the Ratchet. Listen to the difference. Hopefully the camera will pick this up. It should. So let's listen to the difference in the ratcheting mechanism. Now let's listen to the new one. So you can see it's a much finer gear set inside the new and improved design. All right, guys, so overall, I'm pretty impressed with this Ratchet design. The improvements that Tekton made on this Ratchet is pretty significant. And I basically bought it to replace this original design. This was a $35 Ratchet, so I definitely thought it was worth the upgrade from using this Ratchet and to go with this one. Only time will tell how good of a Ratchet it is, but I think from a first initial impression, it's a pretty good Ratchet. Next up, I got these two Ratchets as well from Tekton. I bought this particular 3/8 drive Ratchet. I mentioned in an earlier video that I made called Do Auto Technicians Really Need So Many Ratchets? And I had mentioned in that video that I needed a 3/8 drive Ratchet that was considerably shorter than some of the other ones. So for example, this snap-on long flex 3/8 drive Ratchet was one of the Ratchets that I heavily use. Next to that is going to be this gear wrench locking flex that I use quite a bit. But if you look at these two Ratchets, you can see the length on them. They're pretty long Ratchets, and I didn't have anything considerably smaller. And I found myself in certain scenarios needing a flex head that was a lot shorter, and I just didn't have one. So if you haven't seen that video, why do technicians need so many ratchets? I'll leave a link in the description, and you'll understand why I purchased this shorter Tekton ratchet. So much like the long 3/8 drive ratchet, this Tekton ratchet is also 90 teeth with a 4-degree swing arc on it. Also, it has the removable plate on here to be able to access the gear set, to be able to clean it and lubricate it. But it does come pre-lubricated, says so on the website. But you will have that option to remove this plate, clean these out, and oil up. That will ensure that they last a lot longer. And it is a flex on it, a locking flex at that. So this is a pretty good ratchet overall. So I also went with the matching quarter drive locking flex by Tekton, because I don't have a locking flex quarter drive. And also the quarter drive that I do have is a lot longer. This snap-on flex head is not a locking flex head, and it's considerably longer than this other Tekton one. So that's why I decided to go ahead and pick up the matching quarter drive. My first impression of these Tekton ratchets seem to be a huge improvement over the original design ratchets that they had. I just wasn't a fan of the original design ratchets. You can opt to buy these with the release button style, but I opted to go with the snatch off style on these. Only time will tell how long they last and how good of a ratchet they are. I will be putting these through heavy use, and so only time will tell, and we'll see how good of a ratchet they really are. But first initial impression, they seem to be on par with some of the higher quality ratchets. So I highly recommend Tekton tools. I think they make a pretty decent quality tool for the price especially. I don't see how you can go wrong. I think it's a great alternative to some of the other tool companies out there, considering how much technicians make nowadays. I think that they make a pretty decent middle of the road tool, and these tools will definitely get the job done. So for a good quality Taiwan tool, you should consider Tekton, or you should also consider Genius brand. So while we're on the subject of made in Taiwan high quality tools, you guys might want to check out Genius tools. They're also a pretty high quality made in Taiwan type tool. A fellow YouTuber by the name of Tool Detective did a close-up tool review on these Genius brand long double box hand wrenches on a side-by-side comparison with a snap-on double box hand wrench. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link in the description so you can see side-by-side quality comparison on this Genius tool to the snap-on. So that was my review, guys, on Tekton's new updated ratchets. It's a huge improvement over the old design ratchets that they had. Also, honorable mention, Genius tools. All the tools that I showed today will be in my Amazon store, so there'll be a link in the description. You can head over to the Amazon store and pick up some of the tools that you've seen in the review today. Anyway, this is Brian916. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.